Welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And today I'm delighted we have back with us Rick Tobin, who's Managing Director at Circus. So firstly, Rick, thanks for coming back on board and giving us a bit of an update on how things are going for you. And if firstly you'd just like to introduce yourself and Circus, how you help people and the wonderful things you do, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Chris. Good to be back. I'm Rick. I'm the MD of Circus PPC. We're a dedicated PPC agency, and we focus primarily on search and shopping campaigns on Google and Bing. We've had quite a lot of success over the few years growing, and we've gone from sort of 5 people to 15 people now. In fact, I think it's 16 in the last few years. We're just wanting to grow, develop, work with bigger and more well-known brands. We offer a very, very specialist service in regards to PPC, but we believe we're probably one of the best agencies in the UK for PPC, and there's so much opportunity out there for brands to improve what they're doing, improve their ROI, grow their accounts, and ultimately then make more money from it. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to work with those brands and make them more money.
Brilliant, absolutely. That's what it's all about. Ultimately, it's that's what we're here to do. Wonderful. So we spoke together last year, and I'm keen to know what's changed for you in the business since we last spoke.
Yeah, sure. I think last time we spoke, we were kind of riding that wave after COVID.
Yes.
COVID worked very, very well for us and for a lot of our clients. A lot of them being sort of like e-commerce clients.
Yep.
Obviously, a bit of a push or a revolution in terms of online retail, home deliveries. I think everybody gets and uses and understands Amazon and how they deliver. I think the postman now, or the Amazon delivery guy, just knocks on the door and just walks away. And nobody expects you to be in anymore. They don't need that confirmation. But it worked really well for our clients, and because of that, we grew as an agency. We brought on board more and more clients. We pushed hard into that e-commerce space, and it worked very, very well for us. Like I said, we've grown from sort of 5 people to 15 plus in the last couple of years. And then I think last year, we started to see a bit of a slowdown in terms of that e-commerce. The start of the year was strong. The middle of the year was quite weak. And then the back end of the year, it all came flooding back again. Black Friday, Christmas. Black Friday was very, very strange again. I think a lot of people were back at work and back in the office. So Black Friday took a long time to get going. But then when it did, it was bigger and better than the year before. It was just a very, very worrying morning and middle of the day. And then this year again has been tough. The cost of living crisis, recession, interest rates going up. I know that it was on the news even today again. Interest rates look like they're going up again. So the consumer confidence is low. So we're finding it a bit of a tough year again. But still, we're seeing growth year on year. We expected 20% growth year on year. We're probably nearing sort of 5%, 8%. We're still seeing the growth. It's just not the kind of like the wave that we experienced in the last couple of years. So it's making everything feel a lot harder, a lot tougher, but we are succeeding. And I think that's kind of like the mentality of where we are right now, is that it's a bit of a battle, but we are slowly winning that battle. And with the battle comes that self-belief that we can do it, that we can drive it. It's just, we're fighting against Mike Tyson rather than fighting against, I don't know who a good comparison would be, rather than we're fighting against, some sort of like kind of easy character.
No,
we're on level 10 now, not level 1.
Yeah. It's just got harder. Yeah, it gets harder, and it makes total sense. And my experiences, and you might have an opinion on this, but I don't know whether we're actually in a recession or not. But clearly, as you said, buying sentiment is down in general. But one of the things I've found over a number of different iterations is whether it's recession or not, getting through a recession is as big a win as some of the growth curves we see when things are in a great place. And so it doesn't look necessarily, it's not as measurable in terms of, as you say, the growth is lower than predicted and historical. But just getting through can be a massive win. So it doesn't feel like that at the time, I know, but it does. I think the other side of it, looking back, it's like, we got through that quite well.
Yeah, I think everybody needs a contingency, and the number one priority is survival. Yes. If you can't survive, then obviously everything goes under. So to have those backups in place, if things don't go your way, or enough things don't go your way, that you've got a plan of what you can do and how you're going to survive. Always looking after the team. If things do go wrong, and you hemorrhage clients, you don't have the revenue, it's then how you treat people, how you get them through, how you make the right decisions so that you're not just making people redundant willy-nilly, that the team understands. Again, we're in a fortunate position where we've not got to that state. But, it's always having the background that those plans that if things do go terribly, terribly wrong, what can we do about it? And how can we support people through that process?
Yes. Yeah, it's that sort of hope for the best but plan for the worst, I guess, is
exactly. Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
always sensible. And as well as obviously the economical situation, is there any other key challenges that you've seen over the last year that have affected you specifically?
There's massive changes at Google. Obviously, we're probably 80% of what we do is on the Google platform, and Google are changing the way that they deliver ads, and that we as managers can manage ads. They're going down a much more automated, AI-driven route, which has been coming over the last few years. We've had different iterations of it, but they're putting both feet into it now, and they're getting more and more confidence in the way that the strategic changes that they're making, which is, number one, making things difficult for us as an agency to keep up with those changes. And number two, it's making it difficult for clients that relied on a certain level of response through their advertising, because the back end's changing and the front end's changing now, that they're having to develop and change to cope with those updates. Whereas they've had a few years, 5, 6, 7 years of stability. They're having to change the way that they're doing things. And a lot of those changes came through sort of like mid to late last year. And there was a big learning process over a few months. But I'm happy to say that we've kind of understood those changes and come up with new processes to make them work. We're finding a lot of clients come to us where they've had 3-6 months of terrible performance, and it's just the way that they've adapted to those changes. They've not adapted to them very well, or the agency that they've used haven't adapted their strategies appropriately. So we can now go in and say, well, actually, what you've done here, and here isn't the right way of doing it anymore. What you need to be doing is X, Y, and Z. And that should get you back to kind of where you were middle of the year last year, hopefully. Yeah,
brilliant. Yes, it must be quite challenging having to keep up with that constant change and that constant learning.
Yeah, well, Google obviously have a huge team of people that just think of how they can upset agencies. And there must be hundreds of people in that team, because that's what they do. But their plan is to make everything AI driven. They want as few people involved as possible. Their whole remit is computers are driving the world. Us as managers, it's all about how we control those strategies, that AI, how we control the smart bidding, and how we make the computers do what we want for our clients. So we're just having to learn very quickly, which is a big battle. Google never stands still, so we don't stand still, and that's both the benefit of what we do and the curse of what we do. You have to be adaptable. You have to be change orientated. Otherwise, you burn and you die.
Yeah, makes absolute sense. And I know, as you said, it's been, you know, quite a challenging year, but what are some of the wins that you've drawn out from what you've done over the last 12 months or so?
Yeah, well, again, to be a leading agency, you need to be at the front of that change awareness. So that's been quite fun trying to keep up with it, whilst also being a challenge. But the other area where we've won is that in a customer in a sort of like crisis environment where there's low customer confidence, marketing budgets get squeezed. Yeah. So we've hemorrhaged is a strong word. We've lost a few clients this year who've been reevaluating their budgets, and they've cut down on what they're spending on marketing, which then makes our management fees seem a lot higher as a percentage. Yeah. So we've lost a few smaller clients that have wanted to either bring it in-house or use somebody a bit cheaper. But on the same vein, we've won clients who've ratcheted down a level. We're not the biggest agency in the world, not by a long shot. And I've got something great to tell you about that later. But we're a good sort of mid-level agency, which means that the bigger clients who are reevaluating their current strategy, their current agency, what they're paying, they tier down towards us. So even though we lose some at the bottom, we gain some at the top, and they tend to be bigger brands, bigger agencies. Brilliant. So it's kind of like a big shuffling of agencies. So we've experienced a lot of that. So we've lost some smaller clients, but gained some bigger clients, which is great. Now, I mentioned that we're a smaller agency. The Prolific North Top 50 Agencies has come out recently. Right. Was last week, I believe. Now things move so fast. And we're ranking, I think we're in position 40 out of 50.
Well done.
We are by far the smallest agency in that list. And the nearest agency to us is 24 people, but most agencies are 100 plus. So it just shows the tenacity and the fight that we have. You know, we punch well above our weight.
Brilliant. That's great to hear, and really well done. And because there must be hundreds, if not thousands, of agencies across the north. So we're talking about a very small percentage of people. Well, really well done. So
we're really proud of it, to be honest.
Brilliant.
It's us. I mean, we're not big in stature, but we are big in fight.
Yeah,
and that's what our clients like as well. You know.
Yes. Yes. Punching above your weight. So keep the boxing analogy going.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog, and that's us.
It's funny you should say that. I was watching a little video about Rob Burrows the other day, who chose to pick a fight with the biggest, being the smallest guy on the pitch, pick a fight with the biggest guy, and that's exactly what Jiffy Davis said at the time. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, the size of the fight of the dog. So
he was a great player. Yeah,
brilliant, absolutely brilliant player. So given you've had some great wins, how good would you say you are at celebrating the wins that come along?
To be honest, sometimes we're a bit muted. I suppose it's we're not into sort of self-gratification and all that. We don't want to come across as an agency that's always being kind of like, oh, we're so good, we're so great. We're quite humble in what we do. We take the wins and we have a small celebration internally of success. We do put out a bit of marketing. But like I say, we don't want to come across as arrogant or anything like that. We know we're good at what we do, but we're also very, very humble at what we do. If there are great clients out there that have problems, I am 100% confident that we can help, we can improve, but we won't. We're not big and swanky. I suppose that's the thing. We're a good, solid northern agency.
Brilliant. No, it's something that I find lots of entrepreneurial people and entrepreneurial businesses do struggle with celebration. Not necessarily the external stuff, but it's the internal of, you know, we did well there. And one of the reasons I think it's so important is because when the difficult times come, it's important to be able to look back on the positive side. I always like it to a bank account. You've got to put something in before you take it out. And it's quite important that we celebrate. Yeah, entrepreneurial people in general, I don't know if you're one, we tend to look at what's left to do rather than what we've actually achieved.
Exactly. I suppose if you win a big client, that's when the hard work starts. Yes. So it's a celebration that you've achieved something, but there's 6 months, a year of hard graft ahead of you. Yep. I think everybody thinks that as an agency owner, if you land a client like, I don't know, like Argos or BA or Coca-Cola, that you'd go out celebrating for weeks with champagne dinners. And actually, not all you do is you give yourself a bit of a pat on the back. You maybe open a can of beer on an evening, and then the next day it's right. Okay, we've got to deliver this.
Brilliant. I like that. And
there's no
good.
champagne and oyster lunches. Put it that way.
Oh no! Well, it's got to be the odd one.
A nice Greg's pasty and a bottle of Coke.
That works. That definitely works. And Rick, what would you say you've learned from both the wins and the challenges over this last 12 months or so?
I suppose the big thing is that everybody's struggling. Everybody has motivation to do things. If the way that we look at a potential issue or a problem is not necessarily how the clients are looking at it. It's if somebody is struggling, then they are struggling. We will do what we can to help. But ultimately, we have to make money from the clients, and we have to charge a management fee. And if we're not the right fit, we're not the right fit anymore. And we'll do what we can to try and help, but we can't always get there. And I suppose the clients always look at it like that as well, is that we might have been the best agency they've ever worked with, but if their priorities have changed, the agencies have to change as well. And they would dearly like to continue working with us. A lot of clients do express that, but they've got other motivations. Boards change what they're doing, different cycles in terms of of money cycles, money coming into the business, that kind of thing. Cash flow is that they've got to change what they've got to do. And even the bigger clients, when they're wanting to change agency, a lot of them say that they really enjoy the relationship with their existing agency, but one or two things have changed, and they've got to change what they're doing. And it's a great opportunity for us to build a relationship with them. But everybody's got their own motivation, and it's to be understanding of those things.
Yes, no, that makes a lot of sense. It's it's such a change. I mean, one thing that I typically talk to people about is that if we're going through a challenge at the moment, you obviously identify some challenges going on for the country, but also how that relates to you. Typically, that's the same challenge for all of our competition, and therefore it's our ability to deal with that challenge. If we deal with it better than our competition, then we're actually going to move forward in comparison to the marketplace. And but I mean, often these challenges are quite significant and severe, and it's understandable, to feel whatever the right word is, bad or concerned, etc. But if I think it's great to look at, well, okay, if everyone's feeling this, if we could just get one step ahead of them, then that could be potentially a growth strategy, not just a survival strategy.
Yeah, everybody has the fear of change, but if you change quicker than the competitors, you can beat your competitors. So even though you might have had a rough couple of months, if we implement the changes and get you back to where you were, we can also get you ahead of your competitors. That we can change quicker than they can. And I suppose that's the big thing in our industry, is that change does happen. And change is getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And we've got to be on top of it, and we've got to drag our clients with those changes. But it's also a great opportunity to work with new clients who haven't changed as quickly as we need them to, or they expect to.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I was talking to people through during the COVID period, and I was using. There's a great quote from Charles Darwin that I picked up, and it's something like I used to do it verbatim, but it's something like, it's not the strongest or the fastest of the species that survive, but the ones that are most adaptable to change. And I think whether that was COVID or whether it's now with the challenge of the cost of living crisis and the various things going on, it's that ability to adapt and, as you say, embrace change as a positive that's going to stand people in great stead.
Exactly. I'm assuming most businesses have these, but we've got a business risk analysis of, if certain things go wrong, what do we do? What's the process? Right. And in those, one of them is like, what happens if Google decide not to do PPC tomorrow? They decide tomorrow they don't want to do any advertising. What do we do? And a lot of clients would have a lot of problems. They'd lose a lot of revenue. But there are other networks. It's to make sure that we know we have a strategy in place that if the worst happens, we can make those changes very, very quickly. And we can potentially be the first ones onto Bing to push budgets harder and and faster and take the clients that way, because all of their competitors will have stopped advertising overnight as well.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yes, I'm not sure you're correct in thinking that every business would have one of those, but
Yeah. Well, that's kind of worst case scenario for us.
Well, it's great. I mean, it's very much. I think Sir Clive Woodward has the phrase that he calls it the teacup principle, which is think correctly under pressure. And it's not. For me, the interpretation was not so much the thinking, but it was about the pre-preparation. And they would, as a team, say, you know, he drew it from managing the English Rugby World Cup winning team with, you know, let's imagine similar to you, the scrum half gets sent off at 10 minutes to go. What would we do? Let's not wait to get there to find out. Let's work it out now. And he'd let the team. The interesting thing about that, in addition to that, was he was really keen that the team owned it. So he said, I'm going while you work it out, and you're going to come up with a suggestion. And as long as I don't think it's totally crazy, we'll go with that suggestion. Yeah. So you because he's not on the pitch, they need to decide. And it was really great that we've actually done some of those scenarios and actually have an action plan to deal with those. Because as we know, things happen, change happens, problems occur. So brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Well, when you have the best team in the world, you have to believe that team can make the right decisions and the right decisions under pressure. There's a great one that I heard recently, came out of Netflix, and it's manage by context, not control. So you're saying to your team, this is what we want to achieve. How do we get there? Not, okay, we need to do this to get there. And you let them decide the best way to get them and their clients to the end goal.
Absolutely. Yeah. If a team doesn't own the plan, then they're not going to deliver the plan. So
no.
100% agree.
Yep. And we have a very good team who are very, very motivated to make the best decisions for themselves.
Love it. Love to hear that. That's absolutely wonderful. Well, you've identified one sort of quote or saying, but I'm keen to know, is there any other quotes or sayings that you're using a lot at the moment?
Oh, I mean, it's so cheesy, and it's been around for a long time. Good. But teamwork makes the dream work all the time. We like to be very, very transparent with our team on what the agency's doing, what's working well, what's not working well, so that everybody's aware that if things go wrong, they know why things have gone wrong, and that people are responsible, and that we've got a plan to get ourselves out of it. And also, when things are going well, why is it going well? I think the more that you are transparent with your team, the more that they can understand the decisions you're making, why you're making them, why you're not making, and also how to influence them. If we say that, okay, well, we're not giving away free coffee anymore because we can't afford it, they need to understand why we can't afford it. And they might turn around and say, well, actually, we don't drink tea, so why don't we stop tea rather than stopping the coffee? Yes. And you allow them access to that decision process, which then makes them more comfortable that the agency is going in the right direction, that the leadership team is making the right decisions, and that they are involved in helping shape those decisions in the right way.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. You bring to mind, I heard, I went to an investment summit a few weeks ago, and they had Jennifer Byrne, the ex-CTO at Microsoft, was I say speaking, it was more a Q&A. But one thing she said was that a team is just a construct that we create. What we've got to remember is it's a number of very complicated personal relationships between, within the team, and dealing with people individually to making sure they're getting the best from the team and delivering best to the team is so important as a group of individuals, as well as the sort of the
definitely
team.
If you get the social construct right around the individual members, then they all communicate very effectively. They all support each other. Everybody wants everybody to do well. Similarly to a rugby team, if you have one player who's not playing as well, the team can rally around that one player to drive them forward and to get them where they want to get to. Or if you see one player that's doing exceptionally well and has an opportunity to score, the team can rally around focusing on that player and getting them over the line.
Brilliant. No,
teamwork makes the dream work. Does every time.
Wonderful. I love it. Absolutely love it. And Rick, what have you learned? What more have you learned about yourself over these last 12 months?
I think for me, it's the drive for the agency doesn't necessarily have to come to me.
Yeah.
But to come from me. I'm not the single person dragging this agency into the future.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm steering the ship, and
Yeah.
the team is pulling the oars. The team is doing the rigging. The team is helping me decide on where we want to go.
Yes.
So I don't need to be the single voice of the agency. You know, there's a great team, all with their own thoughts, their own ideas, their own opinions, and that individual element can be a great asset to the agency.
Yeah.
It's almost like an orchestra. You know, to create the right symphony, you can have individuals, virtuosos doing great things, and most people aren't there to see the conductor. They're there to hear those virtuosos. They're there to hear the overall chorus coming from the orchestra.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, no, 100%. And it's when everything works together so well, guided by the conductor and
the conductor's there just to make sure the tempo's right and to alert people that change is coming.
Yes, absolutely. And looking forward, Rick, what obviously we've had some challenges this last year or so, but looking forwards, what does the future look like for you guys, and what are some of the challenges you might face, if any?
Yeah, I mean, for us, there's no major change coming in the way the agency is operating.
Yeah,
we want consistent, solid, stable growth. We want to bring more people into the team, train them up, get them to where we want them to be, expand that way, bring on new clients, bigger clients, better clients, high quality clients. I shouldn't say better clients because our existing clients are very, very good, but a more just continued high quality onboarding of clients and just expansion that way. We're not looking to revolutionize the world. We're looking to deliver solid, great PPC through a bigger team to a larger number of clients. And that's what we're doing. Slow, consistent growth built to last, so that when issues come along and we have a crisis, that we're not overly rocked by these things, that we're nice and solid, we can handle them. We don't have many risks. It's all about reduction of risk and growth and development.
Brilliant.
Sounds boring, but it is effective.
No, well, no, I mean, it doesn't really. It sounds successful. That's what it sounds like, which is pretty.
Hopefully,
pretty cool. I remember. I just come to mind though. I remember talking to a client in my first business, and they were querying the rates. They were querying a little bit about how much profit we may or may not be making, and I talked about the rates and how we might compare with our competition, which immediately we started to identify that probably they weren't comparing apples with apples in effect. But the second thing I said is, look, to be absolutely clear, you need us to make a decent profit so we can maintain and support you for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Yeah. So, trying to get us to sharpen our pencil on a regular basis isn't in your interest anymore than it's in ours.
Yeah. I mean, clients want to know that we're doing a diligent, good job, that we're dedicated to what we're doing, and that we make them money. And if we can continue to do that, and that increase in profitability grows and grows and grows, then why should they change? We don't lock our clients into long-term contracts. They all tend to be monthly rolling contracts. So we live and die every month by the results that we deliver for the clients, and we deliver the results through the dedication to what we do from the team and to being good at it. Brilliant.
And so one last question, because obviously that's a great place to sort of leave it a little bit. But do you have any new initiatives that you'll be launching this year that we should keep an eye out for, Rick?
No. I mean, we like I said, we're good at what we do. We've got a great kind of process for delivering it. So it's just about expanding along that process. Like I said, we're not revolutionizing what we do.
Brilliant. Quite right. If it ain't break, don't fix it.
I think that's where we are. Yeah.
I think, but I totally understand that, part of staying in the same place is to change what you do to match what Google needs.
Like I said, Google changes every day. I mean, they could announce something completely different tomorrow. So that Google team that's there just to annoy agencies, just to upset agencies, they do a very good job.
So you're a bit like the swan gliding across the surface while the legs are going crazy underneath.
Exactly. Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for giving us a bit of an update, Rick. And I really wish you well.
No
I
worries.
appreciate and I really appreciate and understand, that you're just taking things through, the challenging times we all have. And just for anyone watching that would like to expand their marketplace, if anyone watching, what would be the best way to contact you or the company?
Probably through the website. If you go to circusppc.com, all our details are on there. Either myself or get in contact with you or our strategy director. Let's just have a chat. Look at what's not working for you, where your pain points are, and we'll see if we can help. At the end of the day, we can't help everybody, but we'll at least have a look and see whether we can. We are very, very open on when we can't help. When everything, although to be fair, if everything was going perfect, you wouldn't be reaching out to us. So there must be something that we can do to help.
Perfect. Great. A very, very great point. So again, thanks so much. And, let's catch up again in another 6-12 months and see where things are then.
Yep. Cheers, Chris. Really, really nice catching up with you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Rick.